I actually got this shit set up in like fucking 20 minutes, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh,
Let's see.
I'll have some of my fans, inverted commas, might find this video. So
I'm at, I'm hoping my friend drops by just to say what's up. Let's see. All right, man. So, like I told you, I do have that driving question, kind of like for the entire conversation, and that's really like why do you feel the need to like bait people into your content? Because I'm gonna be completely honest with you, the video that you made that I watched, dude, you had some really great opinions, dude. Like absolutely. I really enjoyed what you had to say on like classic MK, reminiscing about it. Going into talking about Fight K, bro. Like Fight K is fantastic, dude. Absolutely fantastic.
yeah.
So like I just feel like you make good content, dude. Like you have really good opinions, but you just kind of like go about it the wrong way, in my opinion. Could you explain that for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll take it back. So over there, like before, we've been doing YouTube on and off different channels since probably 2010, give or take.
Right.
And when I did my first channel, you can actually find it if you go on a Social Blade, you type in Balded Games, because I renamed it when they brought in the option to be able to change your channel name. So I
Right.
got to about 6,000 subs. I was covering PlayStation stuff. And back then it was like the Wild West. If anyone that was part of YouTube back then, they'll remember it was all gloves off. You know, people just went fucking crazy. You know, it was amazing stuff. It really was. And also when you're part of like one faction versus another or warring against each other. And I've had other people bring this up too. They go, well, you know, are you clickbaiting or rage baiting, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And I think the fact is that you can do multiple things all at once. You can have your video and talk about the content. But when and you probably know this yourself, that when people start to get bigger or they start to get attention, you also get your hate watchers. You
Yeah.
know, people that hate, like, just is fake breathing today? Just stop, right?
Yeah.
Stop breathing, right? You're upsetting me. And people do that. They hate watch. And it's so funny because I don't watch anyone that I don't like.
Right.
Right. I just don't, you know. But when you notice that like certain people, you know, are constantly coming around, you know, constantly hating and stuff like that, then sometimes you add little sprinkles, right? Whether it be in the title, whether it be in the thumbnail. Generally, like everything that I talk about from title, thumbnail into the content of the video generally is usually seamless.
Right.
But I also know that given in the last year, the reason why for the particular thumbnail that you reacted to in question
Yeah.
is because that I am a massive MK fan, but I'm terribly casual. Like I am. Like I'm not a competitor. I don't delve into the massive side of competitions or learning absolute every intricacy when it comes to the game.
Right.
But I love MK. I just love MK through and through. And so when I started to talk about gameplay, the pro scene started to take issue with that. Right now, obviously, I'm not an expert. Never said I was. But I understand. To me, what is fun? You know, is this
Right.
compared to previous MK games? Is this fun? Right. We're just talking about Fight K just before. I just got off about probably 20 matches playing Fight K just before we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
And I was losing and winning, and I was having a ball.
It's
Right,
so
because
good,
it's
dude.
fun. Right. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And that's the premise that I come from. And so when I started talking about gameplay, you know, and trying to, my initial one was like, well, why don't we have any defensive options in Mortal Kombat? You know, we have these massive combos deleting half your health,
Right.
you know, and the combos aren't quick either. Like they take forever. You know, you're sitting there, you go make a sandwich, come back, you're still waiting.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, where are our defensive options? You know, like, and that's when the pro scene, at least some of them, were like, well, you know, oh, if you do this and do, like, we're talking intricacy here. Like, oh, if you do this punch using this character, you can do that, and it's like, dude, I'm just a fucking simpleton. Just like, you know, give me a combo breaker that feels like it's worthy. You know, not using a cameo and 3 bars.
Right.
You know, or you know, something like that. Like, and when I started asking these questions and talking about, say, like I hated MK11. I'm not a
I
big fan
hated
of
it too,
NRS in
dude.
general, but I'm like, well, MK11 felt like it was more balanced, perhaps. Now, obviously, to a pro player, they see a lot more than what I do. But I'm just an MK fan. I'm like, well, how does this compare to the previous games? Whether it be 3D era, 2D era, and I'm just like, this isn't fun. Like,
Right.
and not just that, but I'm seeing the same copy and paste combos over and over and over and over again. So not only are you sitting there waiting, getting older, but you're also watching the same shit,
Yeah.
copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and even into some point where can't remember his name. He's got like a mustache. He looks like an '80s cop. I can't remember his name. He's like a commentator.
Oh,
Even
Mr.
he, I think, came
Aquaman.
out. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Even he, at some point, I think, came out and pointed out that look, it's just boring. Like it just looks boring to watch or boring to play. And unfortunately, though, like I'm not saying I'm a prophet. It's just that I look at the history of the NRS / Midway, and the way that their games, as far as I'm concerned, have devolved since John Tobias left.
Yeah.
For a whole host of reasons. But ultimately, as soon as Ed Boon got in charge, we ended up with this, just him basically like, oh, I want to make an MK Tekken game here. And so then we got the 3D era and so on and so on. So I look at all of this gameplay, right? And then when I start talking about it, the pro scene got real mad. So apparently were hate watching my videos on their streams for months without me knowing about it.
Right.
And then eventually, I called out who I affectionately call the Condiment Clowns on Twitter because their names are in the credits, right? And this was at a point when Mortal Kombat 1, everyone's starting to get real disappointed with it. We're not having these features. And these guys were literally paid. Well, I'm assuming they were paid, because they were then credits for beta testing or game testing MK1.
Yeah.
And that's when I had that massive stream. I don't know if you remember or heard about it, where I got into it with Diddle, Foxy Grandpa, and Bruff Poet.
I've seen a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and Foxy Grandpa was the one that admitted to me that apparently they only game tested the game 5 weeks out from release, which I'm assuming was 5 weeks out from the early access of the game coming out. And my question is like, well, if these guys knew about some of this pretty horrific shit that's been going on or lack of thereof in the game, why couldn't they have said something? And I even remember saying at the time, NDAs, I understand NDAs, they probably signed stuff, couldn't talk about it. But ultimately, I realized that I got the big ire from this community. And so anytime I talk about gameplay, they're like, oh, well, you don't compete. You don't have medals. You don't know the intricacies of this sort of stuff. And it's like, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't care. I know it's fun. I can play MK1, the original proper MK1.
Yeah.
From the 90s, and I've been playing it a bit online lately, and I'm just having a blast, man.
Right.
I know it doesn't have the combos. I know it doesn't have the level of detail and intricacy, but there's a fun factor there that whether it's nostalgia or just maybe it was better game design, I don't know. So when I do videos, right, and I'm pretty abrasive, I get that. Like, I'm not upset that people find me the way I do. I've been this way since forever. People that have known me for most of the time I've done YouTube know that I have not changed, whether it be, the way I present myself and stuff like that. I hear you. I do. I really do, man. If you're just a little bit nicer, and I agree. Like, I'm a pretty chill, relaxed, nice person out away from this, right? But when the camera comes on, I'm a bit of a fiend, bro.
But
I'm a bit of a fiend.
That's my thing, though, right? That's my thing. Because it's like, dude, I genuinely, like, I'm not even fucking playing with you. Like, you can see the progression in that video of me, like, being super pissed when I first started. I'm like, this motherfucker,
Yeah, man.
And then, like, as it went on, I'm like, bro, these are some really good points. So it's like, wouldn't you, in my opinion, wouldn't you rather, like, instead of people hate watching you, like, when they see a Fate video pop up, dude, they're like, I bet this is a really good video. And they're not clicking because they're pissed. They're not clicking because it's like, what this fucking asshole say this time? It's like, I genuinely want to hear this dude's thoughts, Yeah,
look, I understand that. I really do. I remember back in the day, I tried changing from being, I guess so honest and upfront,
Yeah.
if you will, like,
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
like dial it back and be a little bit sort of more lubricated, if you will.
Right.
But I found after a while that like I kind of felt like I was going against my own grain,
Right.
and at the very least, like, you know, um, like I don't know. I guess I guess I just feel like it's just me, like I'm just, I'm presenting, what I'm thinking and feeling. And hopefully people, even if they don't like me, will go, at least this fucking guy is honest,
I
right?
mean,
That's
yeah, that's
actually the
fair.
best. That's actually the best case scenario for me, is that I just want people to go, look, I don't like his opinions. Yeah, he doesn't know shit about this or shit about that, and that's fine. But at least he's not bullshitting. That's
Right.
the only thing I care about, right? Now, I have had people try and make out that I'm lying about this or lying about that, and I know there's been I know, there's, it seems to be I don't know how old you are, dude, but
I'm
I know the
26.
younger folk seem to be very sort of like, oh, this has got to be a rage bait thing, this has got to be a clickbait thing, and there have been some people in the community that are trying to be like, I've just got to get him to admit it. He's got it, like, I'm just going to keep pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. I'm going to corral him into this box and go, see, Fate finally said that he was rage baiting, and I've got him, right? I've found the flaw, and yet I just do my shit. I just go, this will be a funny thumbnail, right? And this will be an interesting title, and I just do it. You can interpret it any way you like,
Right.
but when I think of clickbait and rage bait, I think of people that are going, I'm going to elicit a response here and be absolutely nothing like it. Right.
Well, see, that's kind of how I felt with your video, man. Because it was like I expected to click on it for that reason, right? Of like talking about frame data and how people. Which I'm gonna go ahead and say, with your first point, I agree that when it comes to a point of the developers potentially listening to people about balancing the game, I do feel like that needs to come from more experienced players who understand like the fundamentals of a fighting game at a more competitive layer. Or else we end up, like, in my opinion, with some really bad fighting games, unless the developers are like Marvel versus Capcom, where they're like, fuck it, we're going to break everybody. And those are some fun goddamn fighting games, dude. But I do believe that the developers should be listening to people who are more experienced on a competitive level. That is my opinion. Because if you start listening to every Jim, Bob, and Terry when it comes to balancing characters, different gameplay mechanics, you end up with a fucking mess. You know what I mean?
I agree. I actually agree to a point with that. I think my only staple point was just like, I think we just need more defensive options, right? Because I don't actually care about like I've never devolved into anything or divulged into anything like, oh, this character's OP, that character's OP. Right. I'm just simply like, listen, the overall game feels highly aggressive, right? And we don't feel like we have any counterbalance, to all of this aggression. Yeah, we got a block button, but the block button isn't old school where you could just stand block everything, and the only way to get out, like someone out of that, is to do a sweep, right? Yeah. So now we've got a lot, we're delving into a lot of the guesswork. My mate Breezy, who plays, he's big into Tekken. He calls Tekken 8 Casino 8, right? Because now it's going down that like, oh, is he going to go high? Is he going to go low? And then because the game, then I even remember saying this. It's like, what? So you should lose half your health because you missed one punch. And I think Foxy was like, yes, absolutely. And I'm like,
I can't lie, man. I can't lie. I'm definitely on the spectrum of like, I want combos. I want hollow mix, man. I love MKX is one of my favorite fighting games of all time. And that's because it was a wild and crazy, you cannot block forever. You still have like defensive options like your breaker and you have armored wake ups. I feel like that's where they had it right. MK11, they went crazy with the defensive mechanics, and I feel like it made it too casual. They had too many comeback mechanics. But I'm definitely in favor of like the wild, crazy, you can't block forever, try to block this shit, motherfucker. I enjoy that. It's quick, it's fast. I get from one match to the next. It's interactive. You know what I mean? That's where I stand with it.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's your personal preference.
Right.
I mean,
absolutely.
That's the thing, I mean, obviously we're talking about gameplay here, but I look at everything about MK. So, it's to me, it's not just gameplay. It's character design. It's whether it's been infected with the DEI stuff and all that sort of stuff.
Could I get your opinion on the DEI stuff? I keep seeing a
Mhm.
lot of people mention that, and I'm just kind of lost on that one.
Yeah, so I started noticing actually a change with MK10.
Yeah.
I know it was really, really noticeable, and I don't know, I don't think anyone was involved then, and it's shit. All of this stuff could have been in house, but from MK9, right, which was pretty much like almost like the swan song for the midway era.
Right.
If you ever talk to Total MK, he told me that, and I believe him because he's been in with these people forever. He knows like pretty much most of the whole team. He's talked to them, he's friends with them, that sort of thing. But MK9 was pretty much, it was developed under Midway, which is why I think MK9 is such a beloved MK game, because it feels like MK. It's like, you got kick-ass dudes, sexy chicks, everything is just really crazy. It just feels like this incredible last, swan song of the Mortal Kombat. And then when we got to MK10, everything changed. Like everything from like the female character design, how their faces looked, to, them sort of, they started moving away. I noticed with like, for example, Outworld. They started moving away from like the whole purple alien-esque type feel to starting to get into a more, desert, Middle Eastern feel. I started noticing some of the outfits for the ladies were starting to look a little bit more Prince of Persia, right? Like they're starting to look a little bit fluffy, and that's fine, whatever. But I'm like, and that's when I started noticing it. And then MK11 really, really cemented it. There was that one interview where the guy said that, well, it's not realistic for a woman to show up in a bikini in a fighting game. And I'm like, listen, man, if I'm living at Mortal Kombat World, I'm never fucking showing up to a fight, right? You guys are straight up murdering people. So, like it's sort of, that was such a weird thing, and I think something else was said about not fighting in a heel, and yet look at MK1's all-female cast. I think they're all in heels now.
I think so, yeah.
Shao Kahn comes out and says, make Outworld great again. It's funny, but like you can tell why they're doing it,
Yeah, they're poking fun.
Yeah, and it's sort of, there's this slow progression for me. And again, my MK experience is all the way back to the original 2D games where, they're literally wearing like a one-piece, like skin tight, so they can capture them with no flow, when they're doing the actual like motion, like the video capture. And so I come from all of that. And then the 3D era, we had some really sexy outfits for the 3D era. And then MK9 happened, and it was just like heaven. And then it just radically changed, not just with how they look, but the storytelling, the mood. Like there was very, I know you love MK10, but MK10 kind of feels, it's very a depressed like filter. Like
it's a very depressing, really, like dark atmosphere.
Really grim. Like, and that's what I noticed too, the move into horror. Like, we need to see the intricate details of these fatalities. And I'm like,
some of them grossed me out, dude. I was like 15 when that shit came out, and like Kenshi's in MKX, dog. It had me. But I will say on that, just to touch on the outfits real quick, I have a question for you when it comes to that. Moving into like the more realistic graphical design of like MK11 and MK1, if they still did outfits and characters like they did in MK9, wouldn't everybody just look like a porn star? I mean, that would kind of take me out of it, if everybody's walking around looking like Jenna Jameson, like.
You know what? I'm very proud of you that you know who that is.
I was a teenager, bro.
that was wow. That name really is going through the decades. Holy shit. Wow. Okay, so that's, well, again, that's sort of the issue I have with the design and the realistic tone that they're going with MK. Is the fact that we don't have fantasy anymore.
That's
it's
fair,
sort of I'm a big MMO player, so when you've got MMOs which either go the World of Warcraft route, which is a very fantastical, almost comic book style design, versus say things like I don't know, everything from say when Arcade was active, Black Desert, even Guild Wars 2. When they start to ground character design, aka humans, in that realistic aesthetic, then they start having to make stuff that is then like you can get away with like some of it, but ultimately some shit looks ridiculous. The armor pieces, like massive shoulders,
Yeah.
you know, like the really skimpy stuff. It's as you said, like it's a lot more noticeable because they are trying to make it look more aesthetic. Look, if I went down the shop, right, to buy my Milo, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing like, you know, just chicks walking around in bikinis, it's not far off with some of the gym
Yeah.
stuff that we see women wear. Yes, absolutely, it does stand out. Which again, to me, it's a whole encompassing package. It's like they're moving in this direction, and then because one thing has changed, it's like a knock-on effect. You know,
Right.
everything now has to like be modified to get to this particular aesthetic, and I can't stand it because I look at something like Marvel Rivals,
Oh my
right, which
God,
is
dude.
just it's just doing gangbusters, right? And like the women in that aren't dressed like porn stars, but the women in that, like some of the sexy outfits that we've seen for like Sue Storm and Psylocke,
Yeah.
that was standard. Like that was just standard for gaming. You know, if they had some women, they might have a standard outfit or a street outfit, and then they might have their sexy outfit. You know,
Yeah.
and it works because their style, the actual visual aesthetic of Marvel Rivals, which is fucking phenomenal.
Fucking fantastic, dude.
Just nails it, and
Yeah.
it works for the dudes too. Like women like that, like playing these games, they want to have like attractive dudes, you know, to look at and stuff, and so Marvel Rivals has taken the dudes and they make them really awesome. Even the weedy ones like Spider-Man or say like
Yeah.
Reed Richards, you know, they're just jacked. You know,
Bro,
like
they gave
up,
Reed that gray hair, you know, on the sides, bro, looking like a snack.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. And so, and then of course, then the chicks get the feminine treatment, right?
Yeah.
I don't want porn stars, but like Mortal Kombat was the game that forced the ESRB to create a rating for adult games. Like this is like now it's so weird that now they're the ones that are self-censoring. They were the metal of fighting games, right? They really were.
Yeah.
They broke ground with everything that they did, not just the gore, you know, and the blood and like the fatalities in the blood and the aesthetic, but just even the storytelling, you know, like just having a fighting game that gave you biographies for each character, you know, and then endings for every character. They were creating a universe, even in the arcades, that was no other fighting game was doing. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
SNK was close, but like Capcom was like, "Oh, Ryu, just walk into the fucking sunset for the 1,000." Like,
yeah,
it's like you know, there's nothing. You know, it's like
Mortal
come on,
Kombat,
man. Like you know,
MK's always been the story game. I mean, you go back to MK9, and they kicked off like having major stories in fighting games. You know, they did that.
Yep.
So, someone mentioned it in the in our comments here. This should be the conversation. Realism, is it a hit or a miss? So, am I incorrect in saying that you would rather them go back to like the MK9 art style and move away from this realistic art style?
I think so, yeah. Because then, like, I think it just gives a lot more latitude. You look at anime, right? For example, anime, like you can get away with pretty much anything. I've been watching anime since like the 80s, you know, and they can do all of these really fantastical like effects and fight scenes and stuff like that. And the closest I've seen to that was probably The Matrix. That was probably The Matrix, and we know that the Wachowski brothers, or now sisters, I believe, were massive fans of like Ghost in the Shell and stuff like that. So they were able to implement anime style like combat. I remember that one scene when Agent Smith is like just pummeling into Neo in the subway, you know, and he's got all the blurring coming out because he's hitting him so fast. And I'm just sitting there going, man, that is cinema. Like that is like watching anime come to life, and not many have really sort of managed to do that. So anime doesn't really translate well to real life, you know, in general, like to real, you know, characters. I mean, look at Cowboy Bebop, for fuck's sake, right? Like, geez, man, that was woeful. So I'd like MK to go back to that, you know, to this, you know, like other fighting games, you know, like we got the new Fatal Fury coming out. That's
that looks
beautiful,
good too.
like beautiful graphics.
Yeah.
But it's got that fantasy setting, right?
Yeah.
So they can go really crazy with character design and stuff like that because it fits the rest of the world wrapped around it, you know?
Right.
And that's why I think it should move away from this realistic setting and pull everything back and you know, pull everything back from the realistic setting and just go nuts like a Marvel rival. You know, I did a video comparing the two.
You kind of got me on board, dude, because I've been like, since MKX and they moved to that graphic style, especially in MKX, I was down with it, right? They got Predator and Alien Leatherface. It all looked great in that art style. But shit has gotten progressively more goofy looking as the games have gotten more realistic.
The uncanny valley some of the faces get. Yeah.
I appreciate Mortal Kombat being like the realistic one for the most part. Because you got Tekken, it's got that more like, it's more realistic, but it's not Street Fighter, it's not Mortal Kombat. So I appreciate MK1 being the real one, or MK being the real one. And I do think like if they stick with that realistic graphic style, I definitely don't want porn stars walking around. But I mean, I'm not opposed to going back to like MK9. I mean, I'll admit that Melina skin was fucking overboard in MK9, you know, but you know, like some of the other outfits, because it is fantastical. I mean, we're traveling from Earthrealm to Outworld to fucking whatever else, you know? So you know, an anime like MK game, like going back to that art style, more cartoony, I think you got me on board with that. I haven't really thought about that in a while.
I just think that, like, because I mean, you look at, like, they must be making tons of money in Marvel Rivals. Just
they gotta be
a lot, like, you know, from that. And you know, like, you get some weirdos on Twitter going, oh my god, you know, you're sexualizing this character. Shut the fuck up. It's a fictional character for starters, right? It's not a porno character, right? It's just that when you look at cosplayers, like female cosplayers, right? They're not walking around in a bedsheet. They're cosplaying these women, you know, and some of the guys that they managed to make into a female version, like say Scorpion,
right?
But they're looking sexy. They are absolutely, they're cosplaying because they find the character attractive and they're applying it to themselves, and then they're going out to conventions and shows, you know, and like it's that there's a fucking meme, bro, of Ed Boon, right? It was MK9. He's standing with some cosplayer chick, and this guy has the biggest grin on his face.
I think I've seen what you're talking about. Yeah,
he's happy as a clam. And then he's standing with Sonic 5, and he just looks depressed. And I know it's like, it's just a, you know, I know it's just like a goof, but like, the thing is though that like attractiveness sells, and this is sort of, I don't know what your belief system is, but like, you know, there's nothing wrong with finding, you know, things attractive or things sexy. I think I did a video on it actually talking about it, because you know, they always go, oh, well, you're just sexualizing this character. And it's like, well, that's not actually the case. Or they use the Bible where they go, well, if you're lusting after someone, well, what they don't tell you is that the problem it comes when you're lusting after something or someone is when you start to look at them as self-gratification, meaning how can I use them for my own end? That's the problem, right? And so that's where it all gets skewed. Whereas we're just talking about fictional characters here. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, bro, but I mean, I don't think people are whacking off to like the Psylocke skin in Marvel Rivals.
You'd be surprised.
Can sit there and, well, that is true. Please don't traumatize me on a Thursday.
I don't want to be traumatized either.
I think the general populace don't, but they look at something and go, oh, right, like, that's so hot, right? But that's probably it. It's just a throwaway thought, right?
I definitely I operate on a little bit different of like a system there. Like I'm definitely the one. I mean, you call me a soy boy or whatever, but you know, I got with my wife, and my eyes are only for her. Even when it comes to like media, you know, like like fine. Sex doesn't really sell me. It's more of the contents of such, you know, like of the game, you know. So characters looking sexy isn't like a big deal for me. Is that something that like really like bothers you when it comes to it? No. Is that like a big sell? No. Just something you like to piss like, people off with.
Listen, no. Well, okay. Are you asking me about whether I think that about your preference? Look. Okay. I'll try and cover all this bit, right?
Right.
God bless you for having that opinion about your wife. That's fantastic. It's the way that every man with his wife should be, right?
I appreciate it.
I also don't think like there's. I guess it's sort of tricky. I mean, the reality is though, sex sells is just the name, but it's like, you know, when you're having when something is entertaining, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the general populace is hoping to get a tingle in their pants because they're playing as Psylocke and Marvel Rivals. Like, I think the general population, they're not trying to get that sort of, that reaction. They're just recognizing that this is an attractive skin. For the same reason they could turn around to say Wolverine and go, man, he's jacked, or whatever, right? It's an acknowledgement of how we are. We are beings that, do feel and find certain things attractive or not. I think I even mentioned in the video, like, I mean, if you look into the Songs of Solomon or the Book of Solomon, I mean, it's, it's okay to find these things, attractive. It's when you start to become addicted to it, whatever it is, anything, that's when it becomes a problem. I knew people who got addicted to World of Warcraft. Yeah. So I love the fact that you're saying that. I mean, sincerely, you are like, one of the rare gems of people out there. But I don't think it means anything else. For example, if you play a game with attractive women in it and you don't care that they're attractive, but you're playing a game that is got attractive women in it, like fictional characters. Yeah. Does that mean that you're, like, is that what I'm saying? Like, you can start to go down this road of like, but you may not care that they're in there, but you're playing the game, you pay for the game. Does that mean you're facilitating that further? Of course not. Absolutely not.
Right. I mean, I kind of had that run in with. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it, man. You're good. You're good. No, go ahead.
I kind of had that run in with Stellar Blade. It's like that game has fantastic gameplay, but I mean, there's, you know how that game looks, right? Like if you're playing that, they're like, my brother, you're gooning. Yep. I just learned what that meant like yesterday. I didn't know what the hell gooning meant.
It's a terrible term. I hate it too.
But they're like, like, why are you playing this if you're not playing it because the female's attractive, because you're in it for the sexy costume? So I'm like, bro, the gameplay is actually pretty fucking dope.
I've heard that. I've heard the gameplay. Yeah, I think it's coming to PC, man. I'm looking forward to that. And look, I actually like that's the thing, right? So to me, like, I rail against censorship. I rail against like what we've seen with DEI and gaming and stuff like that, and they just push to try and make these women more masculine looking and things like that. Is because there's a deep seated like intent behind all of this stuff, right? Like, and we've seen it with TV shows and movies where they're trying to I don't know, almost reduce everyone down to, we're all just a bunch of cells, we can't have feminine traits, we can't have masculine traits, we're all just blobs, and then, from a biblical standpoint, like there is male and there is female. Everything else is just, as far as I'm personally concerned, just fantasy. Now, it doesn't mean to say people can't live their own life and do whatever you like. But ultimately, when you start denying biology and start pushing back against things which are just natural and normal, that's an issue. Like, and like I said, you delve in. I can't say certain things, but if you look into it, I can tell you after the stream. But if you look into it further, there has absolutely been a very considerable attack on, how gaming is. I mean, look at Concord as an example. Concord, was another shooting game that absolutely failed because they marketed it to people that either aren't going to buy it or were like 5 of them on Twitter. Like, it was just, that thing was like looking at a Bastion Biscuit tin. It was fucking ugly. Like every character was just crap. Now, the gameplay apparently was good, right? But you got to sell the whole product. And we are visual creatures. We are going to look at something and go, yeah. I mean, like, obviously you're married. Anyone that's had a relationship, what's the first thing? What's the very first thing that attracts you to someone? It's visual, right? And everyone's got their own unique taste. And then from that visual, you start to, hopefully like and then fall in love with those people. And, you'll have people go, oh, honey, what if I put on extra pounds? It's like, I don't care. Yeah. Who cares, right? I love you. I know who you are. That doesn't bother me because that could happen to anyone.
You get attracted to the person based on visuals and you fall in love with who they are.
Yeah. So going back to Stellar Blade, if you've got people exclusively buying the game just to look at art, that's very expensive, right? That's very, very expensive. You can do that shit for free on the internet, right? Google will help you out. And that's the problem. That's the people that like they're not looking at the whole package. Like Stellar Blade is a great, like from what I understand, is a great game. You said the combat is absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
it's fun.
You know, and as just a nice visual aside, yeah, the female characters you're running around are looking like very attractive. But I think the dudes in the game aren't fugly either. Like they're also attractive looking dudes. So if a woman was playing God of War and she really liked the whole dad Kratos thing, you know, and she's like, yeah, I love running around with this old man Kratos. You know, he can chain me up to his stump anytime. Is that just as bad as a guy going, I love running around as an attractive female in this game?
I think there's definitely a double standard there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to respond to someone in the comments real quick. Tooten, I never thought you would go so low as to have a homophobic person on your stream. Listen, man, here's the thing. Whether I agree with Fate or not, I don't believe in censorship. I'm not going to censor the men. My thing to get my opinion out with that real quick is regardless of what I think about it, and I'm personally not going to give my opinion because, and it's what I want to go into, why I have a lot of friends who are very political, right? And they're some of my closest friends. But why, when you're talking about Mortal Kombat and fighting games, it's like your Christianity and Mortal Kombat or fighting games video. Why do you feel the need to mingle the two? Why are we not just playing video games, talking about video games, hanging out and having fun? Why do we have to get political and religious about it? I mean, I'm a Christian. I voted for Trump, like I said in my video to you. So I mean, you can gather my opinions from that. But like, I don't feel the need to bring that when we're trying to hype up fighting games and have fun with Mortal Kombat. Like, why do you do that?
Firstly, they made it political first.
That's fair.
So, right, like they did it first. And then when you look at the greater scope of, you know, everything else, like I said, you know, everything's been affected. And listen, man, we're not talking just about like entertainment here. We're talking about, you know, a grown man. Imagine me going to a kindergarten in a frock or a dress, reading stories. Right? Like, so to me, the way that my brain works is that everything's like all of these things are interconnected, right? Gaming has now become, hopefully not for much longer, but gaming became yet another vessel to push agendas, right? And of course, being a Christian, you know, and white and straight, obviously, I think I've ticked all three, you know, as being bad. And so there's been a very sort of considerable attack on all of those fronts, attacking the man, attacking the family, attacking the sexuality, you know, and these things have then used gaming as vessels to try and further these, you know, propaganda or agendas, very Marxist, if you will, agendas, which are very anti-human, you know, whatsoever.
Right.
So when people call me homophobic, I'm not afraid of gay people. Right. I'm afraid of an elephant falling on me, but I'm not afraid of gay people. I certainly don't hate gay people. One of my best friends is gay. I don't care. Actually, he's trans now. He's been transitioning. I actually don't have any hate for anyone at all. This is one of the problems that people, when they use buzzwords and things like that, they don't fully understand. And that is that a true Christian doesn't hate somebody just because they're going through something that is going against the Bible or anything like that.
Absolutely.
The old argument is like, well, what if your son was gay? Well, I would still love him.
Exactly.
Right. I'm still going to love him. I don't have to agree with what he's doing, and I will pray that one day he doesn't. But that doesn't make me homophobic. It doesn't make me hate gay people. If you're seeing somebody go through something that you don't agree with, if you've ever had a friend or whatever that has struggled with alcohol or drugs or something like that, anything that you don't agree with or that you can see fundamentally is bad. I'm not comparing the two.
Right.
I'm just saying as an example. Right? You don't sit there and go, it's all right. You know, they can do whatever they want. Or are you going to either try and help them, be there for them, that sort of thing? So, you know, people like to use a lot of buzzwords. I mean, shit, you voting for Trump is enough. That's it. Yeah. You're gone. You're canceled, bro. Like, that's enough.
Yeah, I'm actually worried to admit that in this stream and in my comments. I'm worried to admit that because people are automatically going to draw this comparison of like, oh, you're a racist and you're a homophobic. And it's like, I'm not, dude.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't even vote for Trump because of his like identity policies or anything. To be complete, I mean, it was definitely a little bit of that. I have a little girl. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So there's like there's definitely a little bit there, but for mostly for me, it was the economy, dude. I can't afford a goddamn thing right now. You know, like, So another question that I have, it's kind of on the same subject. What is it? Kind of directly correlates actually. What is with this Make MK Great movement with you and Toggle MK? I know it's got to be a joke, right? It's a joke between the two of you, right? But like, it does like feign some like cultish tendencies, and you definitely draw like a bad crowd because of that. Because
I actually don't think I get a bad crowd from it.
Really?
To be honest, yeah, absolutely. I read all my comments, you know.
Right.
And I said this the other day or whenever it was. I actually don't. Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Sorry, you finished.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That was basically the end.
I actually I really love my community. I don't actually see a lot of hate. I see a lot of people that are very disappointed in MK. And it was just a joke. Like, it was the joke that Total MK started, you know, and it was funny because, like, obviously the MAGA hat draws attention, you know, and that upsets people. So he decided to go to do the Make Mortal Kombat Great Again. In fact, he made a hat called Make Outworld Great Again. Oh, sorry, Make Outworld Purple Again. It's a purple hat, and that's what it's gonna. And
no, that one's good. One of those too. I would subscribe to that. That's good.
Yeah, and that's pretty good, you know. But no, to be actually honest, I actually don't see anyone else saying it. Like, really? It's just kind of like one of those things, like Make Our World Great Again. But I mean, look, I have my opinions on stuff, but I don't walk away with a stomach ulcer. Right. You know, like I've got a pretty, I'm pretty happy with my life and things like that. Like I'm very passionate about NK, and I share my opinion. I think like a lot of people do with content creation.
Right.
But I don't walk away going fucking, like I don't get that worked up. But when the camera's on, I want to entertain. I want to, just be myself and make it exciting. If I sat here going, today we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat, and yeah, we're going to talk about this. I'm fucking boring, bro. Like, I'm bored. I'm going to.
I mean, I'll be honest, right? Like, watching. I had a viewer ask me in chat like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've already reacted to one of your videos, but at that point, I didn't want to start shit, so I was like, I privated it. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I didn't even know.
I privated that shit, because I wanted to take the time, to like watch a few more videos. And I'll be honest, on those few videos I watched and the video from last night, I got the impression, like, you gave me the impression through those videos that like you are very tightly wound. like not to be rude, but like that's the impression I got. And I will say it's relieving to hear that it is a persona, because not everybody, like Sickander, right? Not to talk shit and start shit in another stream, but like that was a dude who I always thought was kind of like a persona, and it turned out to be not, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked a bit before, but I can absolutely say, like, I suffer with what they call generalized anxiety disorder, partial agoraphobia, so it makes it incredibly difficult for me to work. And from things that I went through as a kid, they call it CPTSD, which is complex trauma, which is basically like, when you go through horrific shit as a kid, it causes a hell of a lot of anxiety and issues later on in life.
To get this out here, chat, before anybody like says any shit about that, I have literally the same thing, dudes. Literally the same thing. So like, I understand the struggles. I've struggled to hold a job since I was 18 because of these very same reasons. Traumatic childhood. I have.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I really am.
Like I appreciate. I'm sorry to hear it for you. Like I hate to see. I'll be honest. I really enjoy Mike Hollow's content. I really enjoyed y'all's debates. Y'all going back and forth. It looked like a couple of teenage girls, dude.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
But like I hate to see something like anxiety. I wouldn't say Mike make fun of it, but he definitely made it a talking point more than it should have been.
Yeah. I think I don't think there's ever going to be common ground with Mike, which is so weird considering we share a lot of similar things. But
I like Mike, dude. I'll be straight up with you. I like his content, dude.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like that's you
Yeah.
know, I don't care. People can watch whatever they want. It's
Right.
all fine. But yeah, I think I think sometimes we're in the space you end up with certain villains. You know, people you're just not going to gel with for whatever reason.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's perfectly fine. I've tried talking to the guy, but I don't know, man. I have my opinions on the dude, and you know, at the end of the day, what really matters, is my family, you know, and life, you know, outside. I'm very appreciative,
Yeah.
you know, of what I've done with the channel, but you know, the things that really matter, and you know this as a family man, that's the stuff that really matters, man.
Yeah,
Like, that's the
absolutely.
stuff, you know. So yeah, I'll do my videos, I'll yell and scream and get all worked up. I'll turn the camera off and I'll just be like,
Yeah, like, yeah,
I'll just be like, relax, because like part of being a YouTuber or a content creator is like you gotta why do you want somebody to click on your video, right? You know, how are they going to choose your video over someone else? Well, you got to start with title, thumbnail, and whatever, you know.
right.
And if the title and thumbnail get them into the video, and you're then mirroring that content that they've first seen, you know, hopefully, like I said earlier, like I just want people to walk away and go, I don't like the guy, but at least he's honest.
Right.
That's all I care about. Like, you know, I'm not here to rub shoulders with other people and you know, social climb or any of that sort of shit.
Right.
I'm just being me. You know, that's kind of all I got, really.
I mean, that's fair. I came, like I told you before and during this, like I came into your video expecting one thing and got another. Like I expected to be pissed and you know, shit on for like thinking like frame data is a good thing, right? And then I just get this pretty chill dude reminiscing on old Mortal Kombat and like talking about how cool Fight Cake is. I feel like I got you clickbaited me, dude, because you said one thing and then you did a fucking another. Like,
so when I do my videos, right? So when I'm recording the video, so I'll talk about the thumbnail in a minute, right?
Right.
But when I record the video, I do everything in one take. Like the 1,000-odd videos I've done and on other channels and everything I do, it's all in one take. I have a general idea of sort of where I'll start, and then I might segue into different things and stuff like that. And the reason why I do that is because one thing, that's an old school YouTuber thing, just doing one take.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
When you live stream, you're not editing it, right? So people are seeing you in real time. They're seeing you go up to take a wee, seeing you eat, you know, reacting to stuff in real. You can't edit that shit out. And I hate edited crap because I like to see the person, warts and all, what they're doing. And I prefer someone to see warts and all what I'm doing, you know, and then they take from it what they want. And so then with the thumbnail, right, I'll just have like, oh yeah, that sounds fucking hilarious. I'll just do that, you know, and I'll just throw the thumbnail in Paint Shop Pro, and I'll pull some stupid face. I don't do no soy face like
that,
you know. I try and do the I actually I won't explain what I'm thinking when I do the other ones because it's a bit naughty, but ultimately it's nothing to do with gay stuff. Anyway, so moving on. So I just sort of think of something that's funny, something that might grab attention. And I do take it like, not you personally, but like when people throw like things like clickbait and rage bait around, I come from an era of YouTube where, like I was saying, like, you know, when you start to get certain people that are watching your content, you sprinkle stuff in. So the reason why I said this is for losers is because I have had people who are pro players, you know, try and use that as a cudgel over me to go, well, Fate doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, I know. Well, I never said I did, right? But this is not the win you think it is. Like, I'm a customer here. I'm an MK fan. I want MK to be an awesome franchise again. I don't give a shit whether or not you can do a 50% combo and what's plus or minus on whatever. I don't care about that. Some people do, and I don't actually mind that they do. I'm calling out their attitude. That thumbnail is parts of it, at least anyway, is specifically the attitude. Like that attitude thing, right? Because it's like, well, what if somebody doesn't know? What if somebody can't figure out this sort of stuff? Does that mean they're stupid? Does that mean they don't enjoy the game, or they can't enjoy the game a certain way? You know? And I can't stand that elitist shit. That's what pisses me off. And I call it out. Whether it's in the video, it's in the thumbnail a little bit, or the title. There's everything I do, there is always a purpose. This is what people don't understand. I'm not live streaming. So I have this right. I'm going to call it this. this is my thumbnail. This is what I'm going to talk about in the video. I might segue, but
Right.
I know what I say before I upload it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not uploading this shit like I have no brain. I know exactly what I've said and why I'll put it out there, because I know that some of these attitudes that I've seen absolutely stink. You know, because you said, you don't really use frame data. You're kind of more analog. You know, you play the game, you learn visually,
you feel
through gameplay,
right?
Yeah, feel it, right? You know, and that's stuff that I've always, sort of talked about. I never said I was an expert,
right?
Dude, I suck. Like, I don't give a fuck. The only character I like using in Mortal Kombat 1 is Reiko.
Yeah.
Right? And I have a lot of fun with Reiko, right? And that's because he hasn't been in an MK game since Armageddon. You know,
Right.
so I was just happy he was back. I didn't choose him because, he's got a command grab and he can do this and he's got... No, dude, he just looks fucking cool. He looks like a gladiator, right? So I'm just going to use that character, right? And that's it. And then I just started playing it more online. I played, did a couple of Combat League seasons where I got up to Grandmaster, you know, and then I just play some casual, but I just play by feel. I throw something out there. If they punish it, I go, okay, I won't do that again. I'll be more mindful of it, right? I'm not an expert.
Don't you think?
But then go ahead. Sorry, man.
Oh, you're fine. Don't you think that's a little like you're generalizing like a lot of people? Because like for me, like I think everybody's opinion's invalid. As I said earlier, I feel like if we're talking about like true balance of like gameplay mechanics and shit, you should listen to more competitive players. But like, I think everybody's opinion's valid when it comes to what fun they're having. So like me thinking you as a casual player is completely valid in how you feel about the game. You kind of generalized, specifically like me, who appreciates frame data and what it's done, you generalized me into the group of losers with that thumbnail, whether you intended to or not. And I think you've done that to like a lot of people unintended.
Did I explain in the video what I was referencing to with that? I'm pretty sure I did. I haven't finished watching your entire video yet.
Right.
And if I didn't, I can explain it now. But I'm generally, like I said, like with the thumbnail, I know how it's going to look. Right. And then when people are watching the video, right, I stand by the opinion of what I've put in the thumbnail. But it's for specific attitudes connected to that I've seen over the years.
Right.
So
yeah.
to me,
from my memory, I don't think you really explained that in the video.
Okay. Yeah, I might have thought to do it. So so that's the reason why. So, it's I can understand people can take it that way, and that's perfectly fine. People can think whatever they like. I certainly don't think you or anyone that's into that is a loser. I've never said actually that people are losers for playing MK1. I don't care if people play MK1. It's your money and your time.
Right.
I've never said anything like that. Because despite personal bias or opinions, I will never ever ever tell anyone to not do what they want that makes them happy.
Right.
Like that would just be fucking stupid, right? But I know that with that thumbnail, given the history that I have with certain people in the community, they're going to look at that thumbnail and they're going to be like, oh, fuck, fucking piece of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about, right? And I just know that's what they're going to do, right? But my content on the video is sound because, and again, I apologize if I didn't actually explain it. I meant to in the video, but maybe I didn't. But my video on that is sound. I'm calling out the attitude that if you're sitting there as a character and you're going, this isn't fun gameplay, and you have someone come in from, say, a pro scene going, well, you just haven't spent enough time practicing, right?
Yeah, I don't think
that's necessarily fair because we've all paid the same money. A pro player hasn't paid more money for their copy of the game over my copy.
Right.
We all pay the same money, bro. So everyone's opinion on what they consider is fun is obvious. By the way, based grandma opinion. That's what we used to say back in the day. Everyone's got an ass, everyone's got an arsehole, and like an opinion. That was very cool. But that's ultimately is. I'm just simply sharing my opinion. But I hate these fucking elitist attitudes, man, that make out that, well, if you don't play the game I do, or if you don't understand the game that way that I do, then you're shit. I'll give you a best example. Right back in the day, a year ago, I was talking to Diddle in that big live stream, and he goes, "Oh, do you know what uplock is?" Right now, I got confused. I thought uplock was the the mechanic where if they jump in and you got 2 bars, right, you can do an uppercut and then you press up and block, right, to then to then instigate like a quick jump to then follow up, right?
I am a competitive player, dude. Like, I am at a higher level of playing, and I have never done that in Mortal Kombat 1. Most useless fucking mechanic they've ever added.
You know, I actually like it.
Really?
If it was one bar, yeah, if it was one bar, I'd actually. Hang on, are you talking about? Yeah, so you're talking about the jump.
Yeah, like where you can follow them into the air by using 2 meters. Useless, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was one bar, I think it'd probably be better. I actually kind of like it. I didn't use it much, but I kind of liked it, right? But I got that confused with upblock. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So, and then Diddle's like, oh, so you don't know anything. So then I memed the shit out of it, right? I memed the fuck out of that because I'm like, oh, okay, so if I know how to use upblock, that's going to save the game, is it? Suddenly the entire gameplay experience is going to be better, right? I just turned that frown upside down, baby, you know, and it fucking pissed them off, right? Because they thought they had me, and it's like, no, this isn't a win you think it is. That is not going to change the fundamentals of how the game is, right? It didn't change anything, right? The game still suffers with the same issues that it had a year ago. Yeah. You know, is it fun or not? Yes or no? And personally, in my opinion, I think it's absolute pile of shit.
I mean, that's definitely something that we can agree on. I think I will agree. I think it is absolutely cringy for like competitive players, like players who have like they're in a position, especially like someone like Diddle. You know, I like Diddle, so I'm not going to call him out too hard. But like,
I got nothing personally against the guy.
Yeah, like using your experience and knowledge to kind of like down someone who's more casual. That's not the way, bro. That's not the way. You know,
I mean, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
You know, and I absolutely agree. Like, casual, competitive, pro player, what the fuck ever. Mortal Kombat 1 is a boring ass fighting game.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think you said it and other people have said it. You know, obviously, like, I'm not going to say the wrong way. I have my own unique way. Just, you know, but yeah, probably people think and go, well, Fate says it the wrong way. He goes about the wrong way. And that's perfectly fine. I say this to people that are thinking about starting YouTube. For the love of God, be yourself. You know, if you start trying to curtail the way that you want to do things, like unless you're being an absolute unless it's like really egregious,
right?
But you know, part of being a YouTuber is also like, you know, that personality. Like, people love watching your content. I'm assuming at this point now because it's you. You know, you can sit there reviewing a fried fucking egg and people will still probably tune in because they like you. You know, you're the personality, you're the video content creator that like, that's man, goal, you know, I'm going to check out his stuff. You know, and you know, there's like millions of it, right, that are all, you know, doing the same sort of shit.
Yeah.
And so I've been this way ever since the beginning, you know, and I've tried making it nicer. You know, I won't be as aggressive and things like that, or as sort of abrasive, and it's just, it's not with everything. That's the funny part. Like, I'm very negative with MK1.
Yeah.
But like when I start talking about like the stuff that I absolutely love, I just get a big grin, you know.
Right.
And I love that shit. So I'm just very passionate, and I think people, you know, don't let people, you know, tell you how you should do shit unless you were like, you know, putting dicks in your thumbnail. Like, don't do that. You know, like, just be yourself, because, you know, you find people, and even though people label me as toxic, like I said, I read my comments. I don't see a toxic community attached to me. I see, and it's probably an older demographic to be sure. I see very disenfranchised MK fans that are, you know, completely, you know, just, you know, they're just checked out on current MK and what NetherRealm offers.
Right.
And so recently when I got into 5K, like, I've known about 5K for years, but it's always been bad connections with Australia and overseas. But recently it's been amazing, and I've been having an absolute ball. You know, I've met some people that literally cover. They stream like 2D MK on 5K, and they got hundreds of viewers and tens of thousands of subscribers. And I'm just like, where the fuck have these people been hiding? Like, how am I only just finding these people now? You know, and so that got my interest fired up, you know, want to like, I want to do a video showing people Fightcade and how to download it and get everything set up and say, listen, you can play these old games. You don't have to be beholden to what NRS is offering. You can play this. You can get into these communities and make friends and have a ball.
See,
yeah,
that was the video I felt like you wanted to make, man. You know, like when I got near the end of it, I'm like, dude, he really just wanted to make like a Fightcade video, bro. Like, why didn't he just why didn't he just say, bro, title, Fightcade is saving classic Mortal Kombat? And then like picture him.
I will give you royalties if I call that the video.
Yeah, like I was like, dude,
yeah, man.
I was like, buddy just really wants to make a positive Fightcade video. I was like, God damn it, why didn't he just do that?
Well, that's listen, I know that's my problem, right? That's I when I start my video, like I said, I do it in one take,
right?
You know, and it's pretty rare that I redo the video. So I segue. You know, because I know Mike's called this. He goes, you just fucking talk here. This is how I work. My brain is going here and here and here and here and here, and I just go, oh, I'll go down this path and then this path, and sometimes I'll forget to come back to the main path. Right. But when I talk with people, you know, like when I used to have like friends over all the time, that's kind of how I like talking to people. Like, you know, you're having a conversation back and forth, and they might think of something and just bring something up random out of the blue, and then you might do it and you might do it. So I know people very much curate what they do. You know, it's like, okay, specifically this and this, and you know, it's all in the box, and that's how
I mean, like I have a whole stream plan when I start streaming. Yeah. Like I'm gonna do this, this, and this.
But I just like I got a, for example, I got a thumbnail done. I'm gonna react to like that 1950s Mortal Kombat. You know, they you know, characters done if it was like a 1950s Mortal Kombat movie, right?
Right.
And I don't know what I'm going to say. I've just done the thumbnail, right? I'm just going to load the video up and in real time just make comments and react to it, because that's kind of just the way I am. I'm just talking as if when I'm talking to the camera, I'm talking to people. You know, that's how I view it. I seem to be the only way I can operate. Maybe I'm autistic. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far because I am autistic, and like I have to have everything set up just right. You know, so like I have a whole stream plan. So yeah, that was my thing. I was like, I really feel like he wanted to make a Fightcade video. And I was just like, God damn it, why didn't he do that? But I do.
Yeah, and I will. I'm actually planning to do it because I had some of the boys like saying to me before, they go, you gotta run some competitions, because like a lot of the people on the Discord, we've been getting them to download the link for Fightcade on the Discord, because my one auto downloads the game. So when you join a lobby, it auto grabs them rather than the one off the website, which you've got to manually do it. And it's a lot of headache for people that don't really understand, you know, or know how to to do that. So my one, for whatever reason, I think, I don't know if I edited it or whatever, downloads the games if you haven't already downloaded the games before.
Yeah, I have the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, so now that it's seamless, the guys are like, man, you should start running like competitions, not for prize money or anything, just to have some fun. I thought, just to keep the game alive, keep the community alive. Yeah.
You know, and I think that's my whole goal. Like I've ended up in a little bit of drama, right? Like with you now, Mike was on the comments of that video. Commenter said we should chop it up. Mike said he was down. I'm down. You know, I've got nothing against anybody. Like, I got your video pissed me off, right? The title and thumbnail. But personally, like, I don't have any problems. Like my goal in this community is to get people excited for fighting games, whether it's Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, for us to have fun as a community. And like, I feel like, in my honest opinion, I know like people are going to disagree with this when the video comes out, but like not coming into this conversation combative, you know, and me and you just being able to sit here and talk about shit. I've asked you some what I feel like are pretty hard questions. You know, I haven't like been free and easy on you. Like I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this? Right. Yeah. Like I don't know, man. I just feel like you're a chill dude. You know, I got nothing against you, like at all. Even if we disagree on like how like we operate. to talk about one of your other thumbnails, right? And then I'll stop harassing you about it. Okay.
No, listen, man. You can ask about whatever you like. Like,
Right.
let me add something just before you go on.
Yeah,
to that.
Go for it.
Because you mentioned being non-combative. There's a like I can pretty much talk to anyone. Like, I'm open to talking to pretty much anyone, because like some people are like, well, why do you have this opinion? It's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just tell you. At the end of the day, I'm just a dude. You know, like I'm not changing things. I'm not changing the world. You know, what really matters to me, I know. Like, and you know yourself. Like, what really matters in this world, you know, you got your priorities set out. But there are like, and this is like sort of my issue that I've had with Mike, is that I feel like I'm being corralled into admitting something. I feel like there's a particular goal that he has in mind, and he's trying to get me into it, you know. And I won't budge. I'm not gonna be forced to admit something that I don't believe in or agree with, for the very reason that somebody can come to me and go, God isn't real, admit it, and I'll be like, no. Oh, but what about this and that? So no, I don't. No, God is real.
I will say, while I'm thinking about it, the one thing that killed me in that last debate, because I just got done doing something, I was like, oh shit, Mike and Fager at it again, right? Every time he would say something to you, you were like, prove it. I'm like, dude.
well, that's the thing, because his whole premise. This is, you know, and this is the interesting part. Just to give you a little bit of, please don't forget your question. Right, I know we're going on.
Right. No, I got it in the back of my head.
Okay.
Front of my head.
My main issue is that, like, I've always done YouTube for a long time, right?
Right.
And with this channel, I think we're coming up on 4 years. That in September, I think it is, that this channel will be 4 years old. And up until Foxy Grandpa and Mike, no one ever accused me of being a liar.
Right.
No one ever accused me of being a clickbaiter or a rage baiter.
I'm actually unfamiliar with the whole liar thing and the misinformation.
Yeah, well, and that's why I kept saying prove it. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that of the 5,000 plus wonderful people that have subscribed to me, I'm pretty sure after all of this time, one of them, right, would have been like, you know what, I think he's full of shit. Like, you know, but nobody ever did. And like I said, I read all my comments. You know, yeah, you get haters, right? Yeah,
for sure.
But to be specifically called a liar is, you go, okay, well, what about my content that I've been doing for years was I lying about?
Right.
You couldn't tell me.
Well, you know, speaking of that, like I actually had when I blew up with Dead by Daylight. I'm working on rebuilding with fighting games.
Oh, nice. Yeah. My son loves playing that game, man.
Dude, it's great. Yeah. So I blew up with that. Yeah. You know, I got 25. I had 9,000 from MK. So I mean, I got like almost 20,000 subscribers from that. So, I actually had a dude go all the way back through my Twitter history from 2022 to 2017 when I got hacked and forgot to take down the posts. And it said some pretty gnarly shit, you know? So, I mean, people will do that. If you have done shit, they'll find it, man. Whether they're on your side to be like, hey, delete this shit, you know, before you get caught, or like to punish you for it.
That's the other thing too. See, I come from an old school type of YouTube where we didn't dox people, and we never got personal. Right, we you know, it was like your favorite football team, one versus the other, right? You talk shit about their team, you talk shit about, you know, like as in like the consoles or the games, but you never got personal. And the community would rally together when somebody actually got personal, even if you didn't like each other. You know, people always used to come together. But you know, with some of these guys, they're like, oh, well, you know, oh, we found this about Fate or that about Fate, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, we're just talking about a game here. If you can't, like, what has this got to do with anything regarding Mortal Kombat? Right now, people say dumb shit. I've said dumb shit. I don't care.
Yeah,
right?
I would counter that because, I counter that with you have brought other aspects into talking about Mortal Kombat that don't belong there, in my opinion, like Christianity and all that. So,
Christianity.
Like, couldn't it be seen as them doing the same thing to you that you were already doing? You know what I mean?
Depends. Yeah, well, it depends what they're doing. Like, I don't care that people attack faith.
Right, like getting personal with family, absolutely off limits. Before I go any further,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, like, if people are bringing up things like, "Oh, you're a racist," or "You're anti-Semite," or bring out family, those particular things, and you probably know this anyway, that those things are very sticky. You know, meaning that, you know, you start labeling people stuff like that. People that have like 2 brain cells and don't use one of them are gonna they're going to cling to that and go, oh, well, fate must be a racist because this YouTuber said so.
Right.
They don't take any accountability for the impact of that. Now, I bring up Christianity because I'm absolutely love my faith, you know, and
that's understandable.
Considering and getting into, say, like DEI stuff and the attack on, you know, we've seen attack on Christianity, and of course the changing of, you know, oh, men can be women and all this bullshit, right? To me, it all sort of congeals together. But when you start bringing up, like, oh, you know, like there was this one video Mike did with some family member, I don't know, like, you know, anyway, he goes, oh, you know, what would Fate's wife think about this? It's like, it's got nothing to do with it. I'm critiquing a fictional video game Pixel. Who cares about what my family thinks or what anything has to do with it, right?
Yeah.
I just want people to stay on point, right? Leave people's personal lives out of it completely, right? Now, I know the counter argument to that too. But you call people funny names. Yeah, but I'm not calling them like racist. I'm not calling them, you know, the PDF files, or I'm not calling them anti-Semite. Stuff that can actually get people, like, careers destroyed.
Yeah,
and we've seen cancel culture. And so, therefore, I have massive issue with that. And then, of course, you know, they'll go, oh, but you're acting like a victim. It's like, no. You have to have a brain cell and realize that these things you're throwing out there or advocating for can have some real world damaging impacts, right? There are many crazy people out there who will just run with stuff. Keep it on point, and I'm good. I don't care, right? I'm all good for that. You don't need to bring up anything outside of that. It's got nothing to do with the conversation, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Right. I did see where Mike was talking about like how you had some pretty bad posts from your Infinite Retro account, and that's what he was referencing. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Do you remember the post?
I don't specifically remember it. I can try to find it real quick. People are probably going to flame me and be like, this motherfucker wasn't even ready for this. And no, I wasn't. But you know what? This isn't... I wanted to ask you the questions that I have on my mind.
We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you the questions that I had on my mind. I'm not trying to dig deep right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Let me see.
I know there was the religious one. That's the only one I can think of.
It might have been that one. It might have been that one. Yeah, I know.
It probably was that one. Yeah. It probably was that one. Yeah.
But fuck it. I don't know much about that. I don't know the lore, so, you know.
I mean, I can tell you. Like, I don't want to get you in trouble on your channel, but I can tell you.
Oh, do you think it might get me in trouble? It's that bad?
No, I don't think it's that bad. Like, I don't think it's going to get you in trouble, right?
Right.
But there was a Tekken player that was demanding that Namco ban someone from the entirety of the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. And like, and I thought that's just shit. So I just shit posted. I'm like, well, who cares? Because you God's fucking the devil or whatever I said, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, this is the hypocrisy. Like, when I posted that, I knew exactly the type of response I would get and the hypocrisy that I was waiting for. And the fact is that if that was Jesus in the picture, right, and some Christian demanding that this be censored or somebody be banned, right, then like people just laugh it off or just not give a fuck, right? Because Christianity is something that everyone is allowed to put under the heel. Now that's fine. But I actually think that Jesus actually doesn't care, and I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure there's something in there knowing that, like, you know, we're going to get mocked and stuff anyway, right? I get tired of the double standard, right? This person wanted somebody's account to be completely banned, a product that they paid for, right? Because it was probably some shit kid just trying to troll people running around in a skirt and saying, I'm Allah, right?
Right.
And that sort of stuff bugs me because it's like, how dare you, like, you know, want to have this person banned, you know, because of your religious belief that two other religions that are massively Abraham, like the other two Abrahamic religions, do not believe in your belief system, and then the atheist, right?
Right.
So you've got like probably let's round it down, 3/4, you know, of a world that do not believe in their belief system. Why are you using that to force that in a game? Just ignore the guy. Just who gives a shit, right? If it was Jesus being mocked, would you have the same energy? I know the answer to that, and the answer is no, right? And the double standard, that sort of bugs me, right? Now, Mike brought it up. He didn't bring it up. He didn't bring it up because he actually cares. He brings it up because he's trying to paint me in a certain particular way. Now, the reality is, though, that as a Christian, right, anyone that is deemed as a prophet or a god after Jesus's, after Jesus, is considered the works of the devil. It doesn't matter if it's someone from Buddha or any other religion. That is a biblical fact that we anyone proclaiming to be a prophet or a god is the work of some sort of like evil or demonic entity. That is Christian belief, right? So, and Mike the Christian.
Yeah, I've heard.
Right,
but I think
so you can't cherry pick Christianity like a salad bar. Like you can't pick and choose. You either believe in the Bible or you don't. That's my belief.
Was it worth that post though? Because being a Christian, like I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I know you just said that, but I'm definitely not in the realm of organized religion or.
I actually agree with that. Agree with that.
Or even reading the Bible, to be completely honest. I have my relationship with the big man upstairs as my granddad taught me. I don't read the Bible. I don't really follow it. I follow the historical teachings of, what was said, how Jesus was, right? And it's, basically the moniker of, like, be kind to others. Like, was that post worth it in that sense? Links, thanks for becoming a member. Sorry, thank you.
No, you're good. You're good, man. Look, it's not like I shattered the realms of everyone. It's not like, there were people in there saying I literally like 1,000 times worse.
Well, yeah, for sure. There's always somebody saying worse, but do you really want to be someone adding to the hate?
In hindsight, it's like, sure, like it didn't do much, but in the moment, I knew exactly what I said, and then I explained it like now, and of course, I explained it then as well. The funny part is though, is that like, I think the double standard still exists. So,
it does.
Which was my point. Sure, I could have elaborated on it, but I did in a video, right? So I said what I said, and then I did a video following it up, explaining my position at the time. And then of course I've explained it again recently with Mike, and then of course you now. But the reality is though, think about the sensitivity right now, what we're feeling. Right?
Right.
It's an issue because we have, as a society, made it so that we can mock Christianity, but not mock or even talk about other faiths out there because they are protected, if you will, right? And I take great issue with that, because I think that like when you start having censorship on any level for anything, that's when, you don't really get to any sort of issue or figure out the situation. And yeah, that bugged me. That did bug me because this is a person that paid for Tekken, and a guy was using his religious position, his faith, to have this person like not just like, oh, please change your name. No, you need to lose access to part of the product that you paid for. I take real issue with that. And he used his religion as a weapon to do that, right? And again, like I said, as a Christian and what I believe in and what I believe in the Bible, I actually don't. I don't agree with organized religion. I just believe in what the Bible teaches and Jesus is God.
Right.
That absolutely having, and of course, obviously, like their prophet came, like Islam was created 600 years after Christianity. And Jesus said anything claiming to be a prophet or a God after him, it's not good. It's evil, right? Now, I'm not disparaging. Now, this is the other thing too, because people take this very personally, right? People think, well, if you're attacking my faith, you're attacking me as a person, which happens with the gay community as well, right? They think that because if you don't agree with them being gay, it means that you hate them. And that is simply not true. This is just like inflammatory type rhetoric that people can't seem to realize that you can be friends with someone or love someone. You don't have to believe in everything they believe in or whatever. But we have protected classes, we have protected religions in society, and it is absolutely 100% true that Christianity is the whipping boy for everything. If something bad happens, it's got to be the Bible teaches hate, the Bible teaches this, and that is simply untrue. So that's why, like, I took major issue with that, because if it was some kid being a shit stirrer, some 12-year-old kid thinking he's funny to his friends, and just doing that. And then one day he wakes up and his entire account is banned, and or he's banned from PlayStation or whatever platform he's on because he was just trying to be some edgy little kid, then I don't think that's fair. I don't think
Right.
that's fair at all.
I agree.
That's his product. He paid for it, or his parents paid for it. I don't agree with that. So is it in poor taste? Possibly, sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's a throwaway comment, right? But my opinion when I said it, or my thought process was like, well, why should you be using your faith to try and change like a video game, or force the company to adhere to that? If we start doing that, then when does it stop? What else are they gonna, like, who else? Anyone, right?
Yeah.
What else is gonna happen? I'm not saying it was my finest moment, right? But the problem with because I'm very outspoken, and because to some people I'm deemed as a hater, right? People will be hyper focused on trying to get you on something, on anything that they can get you, right? And so, you have to be a little bit more vigilant, to a degree. But I generally don't talk much on Twitter anyway, maybe bits and pieces, but not really, most of my content when I say things is just through YouTube. I'm pretty quiet outside of YouTube, like I'm pretty quiet. So.
Right. No, I mean, and hey, I'll take that, like accepting. I think the problem is that people go about it the wrong way. They try to catch you in a gotcha, whatever. Because I mean, you're seen as the villain of the MK community right now. Like, to be completely honest, like you're bad Batman and Total MK's bad Robin. So like everybody's trying to catch you, but like even saying what you have, like it wasn't your finest moment. I mean, that's accountability. And I think that's what other people were asking for in sort of a backwards way to try to catch you in a gotcha moment, which I don't agree with, right? Like, I felt like you should have taken accountability for that in a way other than like, explaining it from the Bible. Like, maybe that wasn't the thing to do, but so.
Yeah. That's the issue with Mike, is because I know Mike's intentions are not good. Your intentions are good. That's why I have no problem talking about it, because, and going back to what you said earlier about coming in non-combative, when you like, because when you start to get a feel for someone, you can start to see, okay, why are they not, sort of accepting an answer here, or things like that.
Right.
Or when they start framing things like, well, how do you think this looks? Or, what is the community going to think of you? And it's like, okay, all right. So what are we doing here? Why are we trying to start framing a picture here?
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
No.
Like there's only one person I'm worried about disappointing, and he's up there. Like outside of obviously my family, like, the one true person I don't want to disappoint is him, and that's as simple as it is. Now, people don't have to like my takes and stuff, but yeah.
Now, I mean, I'll say on that, like, not trying to like frame anything or like how would the community, what's the community gonna think or whatever. It's more or less like on a personal basis of like, I genuinely feel like you make good content. When you're reminiscing on older games, on the older MKs, when you're talking about the story and everything, like, I'm not talking about like framing you a certain way, but I would love to see your channel be like a little bit more positive. I love to see that, because I'm going to be honest, man. And I think we've both been in this long enough to like understand that there's a ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're only going to go so far with that type of negative content. And I feel like your opinions are good enough to go further than that ceiling allows, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm not trying to be preachy, I'm not a fucking preacher.
No, that's all right.
I'm not trying to be preachy. I just genuinely think, like, after that video, dude, you have some good opinions. And I just like to see it be a little bit more positive, so that ceiling goes up for you, Yeah,
I mean, I think, I'm not disagreeing. Like I said, I want to try and get the people that follow me to, who are probably fans of classic MK, to realize that they can play these classic games. So that's some positive content. I mean, I've done a fair amount of reviews on the channel. No, not the capacity of the other stuff,
I've noticed everything outside of your MK content is positive.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because like MK1 is kind of like it's a very sore spot, because of how far the series has fallen. And then, of course, I've looked at the way NetherRealms handle things, Warner Brothers to handle things, you know, and then this infuriates me further about how the fuck could you, the people that own Mortal Kombat, just completely, like how do you mess up your own product? You know, that really baffles me. So part of my channel too is therapy. Like,
fair.
I just get shit off my chest.
Yeah.
I'll see something and it's like, oh, fuck the bullshit, you know, and I'll just do a video on it and I'll get it off my chest, done. That's it. You know, and then amongst that, I might have some stuff where I'm happy about things or covering things or whatever. But I you know, if I grow, I grow. If I, you know, if I get somewhere, I get somewhere. You know, he has a plan. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I if I start worrying about, you know, I'm hearing you. I actually agree. Like I definitely could be nicer. There's another guy in the community. His name's Daryl Sung. He's a massive classic Mortal Kombat creator. Like he's wonderful. He gets called the Mr. Rogers of Mortal Kombat. You know, it's very cool. You know, and I think he started watching some of my content. You know, and he said, "Yeah, just I like the fact that you're just honest." You know, and that's all I care about. You know, like people. I'm not here to get people to like me. I'm just kind of sharing stuff, and if people feel the same, that's cool. If they don't, that's cool. Like you and I are talking right now. Like I get along with 99.9% of people. You know, I've had people come at me like real hateful, and we walk away going, yeah, that's cool. You know, like we agree to disagree, and that's fine. There are certain people I probably won't interact with anymore because I know their intentions. I know that the only goal here is to frame a narrative, you know, and those games I won't play. You know, because I wouldn't do it to somebody else, and it's just that in itself is very bad. You know, because we're all trying to do our own thing. You know, we're all, you know, hopefully making a living. Or
I can definitely say, man, you and Mike do not mesh well together. You know.
No, and that's so weird. You know, it's such a weird conundrum, right? Because when I had my blow up on that big stream when Foxy came in, right?
Yeah.
And he was calling me a rage baiter. He was calling me a clickbaiter, right? And whatever. You know, he goes, oh, I don't think you really care about MK. And then I had a pop-up video of Mike. Yeah. Just on recommended. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. He's talking about MK and how bad it is. So I remember doing a response, like react video to that, you know. And you know, I'm showing people, hey, check this dude out. He's, you know, he was smaller than me at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, check this dude out. You know, he seems really, you know, good on this stuff. And then his first video on me was parroting Foxy Grandpa's talking point, right? And I'm like, I've heard this shit before. So when I spoke to him, I said, you're friends with him, aren't you? He's like, we're not friends. We don't hang out. I said, dude, you can be friends online and not hang out in the real. Come on, let's be real here, you know. And I don't know what it is, like, not to be too crass, but it's almost like I fucked his mum. The way that just this absolute weird obsession with, like, he's you know what, you know, have you ever met someone that doesn't like you, you know, and they're completely off? They're like, they've got you dead to rights. They're like, no, you're this way. I don't care what you say. You're just that way, and that's it. Like you can't say anything, and that's just the way he is.
Fortunately, I have not experienced that. But
well, that's a good, excellent. Thank God,
Mike.
But yeah, that's how I view him. Anyway,
it definitely seems like Mike likes to poke at you, especially when y'all are like when y'all get going.
Oh, yeah.
I know you definitely like to take some shocks too. I've heard a few. You know, it just seems like y'all are so goddamn hard-headed. There's never gonna be an agreement there.
Well, that's the funny part. Like I said to him the other day when we got into it in part 2.
Yeah.
I said, look, you know, in chat, but let's talk about some games, man. Like, let's talk about some games and shit, you know. And no, and because then at the end of it, he's like, you only want to talk about games, so you didn't have to like answer questions. For fuck's sake, man. I just, you know, let's just let it go. Like a bowel movement. Just let it go, right? You're not going to get me on anything, so just give it up. Like,
right.
You know, I am just a simple guy. I mean, there's not really much else to me, you know. But it's sort of like, I get the impression, I could be wrong, he will obviously never admit it, but I get the impression that, like, I thought through what he was doing very early on. And one of my very good friends, before I went into that very first debate with him, said he's not going to talk about the MK stuff. He's going to try and pin you down on why you call somebody a clown and stuff like this, right?
Right.
And it turned out to be true, And when I realized that intent of him, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, just, I'm giving you an answer. Like, if I asked you a question, right?
Right.
And you gave me an answer, I don't care about going, yeah, but can you explain that more? Or, can you give me the deep dive? And, I just don't give a fuck. I am of the opinion that when you're telling me something in general with people, I'm going to take them at their word. I don't walk around with a worldview of thinking that the world's constantly lying to me. If somebody proves to be lying to me, well, that's on them. That's not on me, right?
I understand both perspectives for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's weird that, it's such a weird conundrum, because I think we share a lot of similar points of view when it comes to MK, things like that. He thinks I want to be friends with him, which is the weirdest fucking take. I'm 47 years old. No offense. I'm not running around. Like, I have friends that are younger, but I'm not targeting people to be friends with. Like, it's such a weird fucking thing to say. But what I always sort of think to myself, well, you share similar views on certain things. There should be no discourse, right? There should be no discourse, particularly when, if you have an issue with me calling somebody a clown, therefore you should not be calling people names either. You have got to hold that standard to yourself if you're going to hold it to other people. And of course he's done that. And he goes, but I don't like them, so it's okay. And it's like, well, I don't like these other people. So what's the difference? You know what I mean? So that then it becomes this cycle of, like, I don't know. There's definitely two hard heads there.
Yeah.
But there's a billion people on this planet, and he's just one of them. So, he does his thing, I do my thing, and that's just the end of it.
Yeah, that's fair. It definitely I don't know, man. It just seems like it's content for sure. You know what I mean? Like, people want to see you two get into it, and I feel like that kind of pushes the debates. That's not here though. Like, whether we agree or disagree, I'm gonna keep it respectful. It definitely, like, the teenage girl in me really enjoyed that debate between you and Mike. Like, the teenage girl in me was sitting there like, ooh, but I think it definitely could have been handled better. It could have been a lot more respectful on both sides, for sure. And I'm glad
because there's a history now, because like, that's the problem, right? Is that because there's been so many punches thrown, there's so many broken ribs, right? Yeah. Now we're instantly on guard, right? It's like,
it's combative, like, no matter what now.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because, like, it never should have been that way. But because he's in the UK, he's friends with these other people, right? And the reason why, actually, I'll add to this. So the reason why we had the proper falling out is because of the next day when I got on a live stream with Sikander. We all know how wonderful Sikander is, right?
Yeah.
Now, I thought it was an act. I actually thought Sikander, the way he behaves, was an act. It's not an act.
Right.
I think most people realize that now. But Mike came in at some point in that stream, and he's sitting there, and Sikander's, like, saying all this pretty horrific shit. Now, I don't care, right?
Yeah.
What I cared about was, like, hang on a sec. He's telling me to kill myself. He wants to cut my throat open with an axe. Oh, sorry, a hammer, like the backside of the hammer, and all that sort of stuff. And you're sitting there saying nothing. Yet I call somebody a clown, and it's like, that's it, scorched earth. Got to expose fate. And it's like, that's what I was thinking. It's like, that's a fucking hell of a double standard, bro. I mean, like,
I can definitely agree with that. Yeah, I can agree with that.
They're friends, right? And he's like, oh, but, you wouldn't expose your friend in public. It's like, yeah, but you told me at the time you weren't friends with these people, right? So which is it? You're either friends with them or you're not. And if you are, like, I don't know. So I think we should just annex the UK from M.
Oh man,
stay over there, right?
I just it's one of those things where it's like, I just see, I watch the videos and I watch the debates and I see a lot of wrong on like both sides, you know, and not to sit up here like I'm fucking holier than thou, never made a mistake in my fucking life. But you know,
No, but
I
you're
feel like
impartial. You're
yeah,
impartial. Yeah,
and
so you see
I'm
things
not
other
familiar
people
with the
don't.
lore, right? Like I'm not sitting here.
Yeah.
I haven't went through all of your videos. I haven't went through all of Mike's videos. I haven't seen the first debate between y'all. I saw the second one and there was a whole lot of shit where it's like, man, y'all just keep like, hey, Black Kettle, what's up, Black Kettle? You know, like it's the pot calling the kettle black, you know?
I agree with that.
On both sides. And it just made it hard to keep up with. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I just like I know what I put out. I know how it's viewed. But like I said, I do have lines that people shouldn't cross. You know,
sure.
I think that you know, there are certain things that should not be brought up or discussed or whatever. And certainly, like you and I have been talking, right? And I've been sharing my answers, and you've obviously shared stuff.
Yeah.
And you've asked me some pretty full on stuff that also has been asked by Mike as well. And it's interesting, isn't it? How we aren't fighting.
No. Yeah.
Right.
I have no.
You know. Now listen. You may not believe what I'm saying. That's obviously on you. But we're not arguing.
No.
You know, like, you know, and that's definitely, that's why I call out people's intention, because like I can talk to anyone, but if your goal is to try and get you in some sort of thing so we can go, right, now we got Fate in 4K. And keep in mind that I've also saved some of these screenshots that, like, you know, that he, you know, has over time, you know, said things either to people on his stream or in comments to me back in the day when we were arguing this one time on Twitter.
Right.
That, he's very adamant at trying to sort of expose me. So the other day I said to him, I said, cool. In the very beginning, when you first discovered my content, please tell me where I'm lying. Go. And he couldn't answer. Right. There's no evidence because there's nothing there. I'm just sharing an opinion. And an opinion, well, I mean, it can be a shit opinion, but it doesn't mean to say it's wrong. You know, you could say that my favorite fighting game is, you know, fucking Hello Kitty or something, right?
Yeah.
And 99% of people say you're wrong.
Right.
But you're not wrong. It's just your opinion.
If it's my favorite, it's my favorite. You know?
It is. It is definitely a favorite.
Fuck
Somebody
you. Like, I'll combo you with Hello Kitty.
He's done now, man. He's exposed. Right. But that's the thing. And so I have a theory, right? We have a saying in Australia called tall poppy syndrome, right?
Yeah. Too big for your britches.
And basically, or too big for your britches, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just loud. I just do my videos. I'm not advertising my videos anywhere. I just do my shit and I walk away. And I think my voice was starting to get out there at the time, right?
Right.
And some people, and I've seen this happen with other creators and shit over the years, some people don't like that. They view it either as a threat or they're going to take their thunder or things like that. And I'm not saying I'm great. Keep in mind, I'm not saying I'm great. I'm just saying I was loud. Right?
Right.
So, you know, take as that what you will. And that's when I noticed you know, things were starting to get a bit personal, they were trying to, you know, really go hard. And that's, I'm like, oh, okay. You know, so, and because I am a proud Gen Xer, bro, I don't take that shit lying down. You know, I don't mind, you know, giving the old pokey back. But yeah, I mean, you know, look, I mean, I'm not trying to be friends with these people, whatever. I don't care what they do with their life or their channels and things like that. It's their business. But ultimately, you know, I think everyone just needs to do what they do, you know, and, you know, I've listened to everything you said. I actually agree with you about being nicer. I can't make any promises.
I hope to see it, man. I really do.
Right.
Because at the end of the day,
at the end of the day, you're a cool person because now we've spoken and I can tell you're a cool person. So you could literally put out furry porn on your channel. I wouldn't give a fuck. Right. Because now I know who you are as like, not like full, but I've got the general sense of who you are. Right. So I know some people, they judge you on what you do on your channel. You ever had people do that where you're like, you make something on your channel and then in Discord they're like, I'm so disappointed in, you know, in what you said there. And it's like, okay, like some people just take shit way too seriously.
Right. No, for sure. Absolutely. A lot of people in this day and age are definitely sensitive.
Yep.
I mean, I'm fucking guilty of it. I mean, I got rage baited, in my own opinion, from your thumbnail, right? Like, it pissed me off. I was genuinely mad, and that might be viewed as sensitive. I was genuinely mad. But
no,
I
was watching it. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And
you got me. 10-minute fucking intro, just talking shit, dude. I was pissed.
That's not my intention. That's the funny part. Like, that actually wasn't my intention. Because like I said, and again, I thought I explained it in video, and my apologies to those that watched it.
Right.
But the reason the thumbnail existed in explaining the losers aspect was literally because there are attitudes in the FTC that just think that they are so above everyone else because they know extra shit.
I would say Sonic is one of those.
Yeah, I've called out Sonic before. But it's sort of it's really interesting actually, because I don't think I've ever seen Sonic behave like some of these other people I've interacted with though. Right. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Like, he might call like the community dog water or whatever and shit, whatever, things like that, because he's ego.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever seen him get personal, and whether I like somebody or not, you got to praise your enemies. You've got to give them, you got to praise your enemies when they do something right, because otherwise none of it works.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be honest, like, obviously, Mike offered to talk to me, like, I'm probably going to go do a stream with him. But like, one thing that I want people in here, like in the chat room, hey, what's up, Total MK? Welcome to the chat. I don't want people to think I'm fake. I got on here, genuinely. I talked to Fate a little bit before we started streaming. I want to keep this genuine. This is a platform. My channel is a platform where we can come on here and we can talk sincerely in a non-combative manner and hopefully have a good conversation. We went into like some extra things in this conversation that honestly I'm not informed on. So like, I'm a terrible interviewer.
Oh, that's fine.
But like the main question of this whole stream, the main reason I wanted to talk to you was just to like talk about your content, how you frame shit, how you present yourself. And I feel like you have answered that in a very acceptable manner of that's just you, bro, and I can accept that,
Yeah.
So I genuinely like coming away from this, whether I like your content, whether I watch your content or not, I come away from this conversation really appreciating it because I feel like I've gotten to know you a little bit, and I like you. You're easygoing, easy to talk to. I feel like we've had a good conversation, man.
Well, that's why, because I needed another friend.
I need friends.
I'm sorry, man. See what I mean? I fucking shit stir. I told you.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it. Right? I'm from Virginia, dude. We love to talk shit too.
Oh, okay, cool, excellent. Yeah, nice. Yeah, right. But I mean, look, that's the thing, I mean, it's just none of it really fucking matters anyway. It's all who the person really is behind closed doors. I remember a long time ago, a guy said, the vertical slice that people see, when we do YouTube, that's not your life.
No, this is all characters for the most part, dude. Like, we're what's the word? Exaggerating who we are. No, I'm not walking around I mean, I don't know. You can ask my wife. I am pretty ADHD. I am probably screaming a lot, like when I get excited. But like, I accentuate that on stream. This isn't who we are.
Yeah.
And plus, like, it's not even that deep. We're a bunch of motherfuckers talking about video games, on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not deep enough to get personal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's the point. Like, like, because you gotta kind of entertain. I mean, we're all competing. If you want to think about it, like, we're all trying to get somebody to click on our video over somebody else.
Absolutely.
But, I'm obviously, again, like, I think most normal people are against clickbait and rage bait. But like I said, my definitions are like, your thumbnail is lying about your content, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue I have. Now, people could say, "Oh, but you call people losers," and I don't know. I have to watch it again. I don't know if I explained it fully or not, but yeah, that's like, you know, I know what I've put out with thumbnails, so people are going to look at that and go, "Fuck, here we go." Get into the video and then have an explanation of it. You're going to get a lot of people to watch like 10 seconds of video and again, you're a fucking loser. And like, you watch 10 seconds, like you didn't even get through, you know, like the content of the video to see any explanations or anything like that. So, you know,
right.
I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. I just hope this conversation's like, you know, for the guys who are in here in Twitch, not Twitch, fucking YouTube, you know, you get to see a little bit more of a non-combative. Because I know, dudes, I know. A combative conversation's a whole hell of a lot more entertaining. Someone in chat just said this was good, and another dude said it was just a convo, nothing much happened. Yeah, we're just... I like to think of it like as a simple interview, you know? Just talking to him about his content, you know? No, it wasn't combative. Yeah. No, we weren't yelling at each other like children. But I think it was productive, in my opinion. You know, we talked about a lot.
Yeah, I just like talking to people.
Yeah,
you know, like
same.
if they're, you know, like if you were, you know, I don't care for hard questions. Obviously, you've asked me something, and shit. Right. I brought up stuff, you know, that that people can, you know, finger wag at. Yeah. But like, I just, you know, it's when the reason why I hate the whole framing thing, and when people are trying to box you in, it's because it feels like they're trying to, you know, destroy something of yours. You know, like they're I don't know if it's either jealousy or they just hate you in the same space, or they have convinced themselves or whatever. You know, that sort of stuff. It's like you don't need to do that. We can all coexist, even if you don't like people. We can do our own thing, and that's the end of it, right?
Right.
And I make funny nicknames about people. Like I just give people funny nicknames. You know, when I'm not fond of them, because I find that humorous. You know, like
right.
you know why I call Sikander Cupcake? Do you know why I call him Cupcake?
I do not.
Okay, so when I had that big live stream with him, I said he was getting all, you know, Sikander-ish, right?
Right.
And we say this in Australia. I said, settle down, Cupcake. He's like, what? Did you call me gay? And I'm like, dude, I didn't call you fucking gay. And then I'm like, that's it. I'm going to call you Cupcake. That's it. And so now he's a Cupcake. That's as simple as it is, man.
The impression was spot on. The impression was spot the fuck on. Now, I mean, you know, to disagree for the chat room real quick so they're entertained, I do think that's a little childish. You know, I'll be open and honest with you. I think that's childish. But, you know, I don't have the same fucking sense of humor. Not everybody does. You know? Something that I view as not childish and fucking hilarious, you might be like, bro, at your fucking age, dog. You know? Like, so, I mean, it's all subjective. Even if I think it's childish, I think a lot of people in the community find it childish, you know? But at the same time...
Well, I will counterpoint with that.
Right.
Sikander's entire existence. I mean, I'm not telling what. So Sikander is very popular.
Yeah, I'm not personally a fan of him.
Yeah, me either. But like, he's obviously got a lot of followers, a lot of
for
support,
sure.
Right? That guy is literally trying to have people delete themselves. The shit that comes out of his mouth, right? Which is obviously, like I said, it's not an act because, you know, it's plain as day, right? That stuff I will never say. Yeah. Right, because those things are really bad. Like, I give people funny nicknames I don't like because there's no ill will. You know, like I think Mike's called me a donut and shit. Like, whatever, who fucking cares, right?
Right.
But like, you know, that's just, you know, you just give each other shit. Like, dudes give each other shit, right? I can't say some of the stuff I might call my friends when I've joined Discord, but you know, some people just do that, right? Is it childish? Sure, but again, like, I don't care because you know, I'm just trying to have fun with what I'm doing, you know. And I don't think I'll give you a funny nickname because I mean, can't think of one right now.
I'm down with it.
It's like Tooten. I'm like Tooten Rootin'. There we go.
Tooten Rootin',
right?
My name's already a joke. My name's a fart, bro. You know, like, what more can you do?
Is it really?
Well, no.
Is that what it means?
My last name, it's wordplay on my last name. I was given the nickname when I was in middle school, and I was just like, hey, thanks for the branding, asshole. You know, and ran with it.
Hey, bro, listen, if you can make money out of the brand,
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
yeah,
like, just do it.
it works.
Right?
And
But
I think,
that's how my brain works. It's like somebody will be saying something, right?
yeah,
And my brain, I know what they've said, but to be funny, I'll reinterpret it and say it like, they might be saying, oh, I really want to play this game. It's like, oh, what, you want to molest this game? What? Like, and because it'll sound like the way they've said things, and I'm just poking fun and just having a laugh. But Australians are chronic shit stirrers.
yeah.
Like we can be absolutely chronic fucking shit stirrers.
One of my favorite streamers, like that I've watched since I was like 12. So I'm pretty familiar with Aussie humor because of this. His name is Panda. He used to be Chinglish. He's a WoW streamer.
Okay.
That his name was Ching. He loved him, dude. So I'm familiar with the Aussie humor, and I think what we're talking about, like the whole childish thing, that wraps me back around to Toggle MK. Toggle, I saw that you made like a reaction video to mine, dude. I watched a little bit of it before I jumped on here with Fate. Yeah, man, like that's one of my things. It's like the pee pee poo poo jokes and the name calling. I just feel it's a little childish and like, I don't know, to sound fucking preachy again, I guess, a little disappointing, especially from like an OG in the community, not to sidetrack off on the Toggle. He's not in here to defend himself, but Toggle, I'd love to talk to you too and have you on in the same fashion, Yeah. But
yeah, Total MK is pretty outspoken and stuff. I think in a lot more in recent years. And it like I said, like he's been so in deep with the original Midway team.
Yeah.
The stories he can tell you and the interviews and oh my god, like he's just a fucking goldmine. But because he is OG and because he's outspoken, and then of course the deficit of being Australian, it can obviously like rub sort of people the wrong way or whatever. And I mean, look, it'd be good, if you ever talk to him one day. Like he's just such a chill dude. Like he's such a MK like knowledge well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, because like people have tried to frame him in a certain way as well.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, no disrespect to your age demographic, but
no,
it seems like because Gen X straddled the non-internet days, and then like millennials and whatnot, then were basically born into essentially an online world.
Yeah.
And some of them, like, they sort of get shaped into like this sort of it's almost like it becomes like this reality where they they treat it like reality. Like, you can't say, you can't do that or whatever, and it's like, listen, nobody gave a fuck back in the day. Like, nobody cared. Like we got to a point in generation where nobody was like, we weren't racist. Nobody gave a fuck what color anyone was or anything like that, and we've seen that turn around where now, it starts to get used as like currency. There's a lot of currency in victimhood, because now we have people, trying to either police opinions or say you can't say this or do that, because they, I mean, people have personal preferences, but I think ultimately they think, oh, somehow it's this horrifically wrong thing on the same level as the bad guy from WW2. And it's simply not true. Like, you said you're in your 20s, yeah?
Yeah, I'm 26.
All right, cool. I'm going to give you...
I'm Gen Z, I'm going
to give you 14 years, and in 14 years, we'll see if you're name-calling anyone just yet.
I mean...
Right, because you get to your 40s and you're like, man, I didn't give a fuck anymore. Like...
I mean, my friends and shit, right? Like my brother-in-law, he's in the living room, best friends, right? Love him to death. I'll walk in there after I get done with this, and I'll be like, "What's up, asshole?" Like, yeah. It's like that thing. But like, what I think, my opinion on it is like people that I don't know, right? Like if I were to immediately hop on here and just, I disagreed with you in that video, so I just was like, well, this guy is now known as Numbnuts from now on. I just feel like that's extremely disrespectful.
People only get nicknames when I've had it, like, so they've actually like been what I would consider a jackass, right? Like I call the condiment twins the condiment twins, like ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to fucking say ketchup and mustard. It's too long. I was lazy. So I'm like,
Right.
condiment twins, right? And then I think I only called them condiment clowns when I discovered the credit thing. And that's when Foxy, like, bled into his panties, and then Mike bled into his panties, all about. They got real defensive over that, But
Yeah.
ultimately, like, I didn't even come up with a nickname for Diddle, right?
Right.
Because, like, the last conversation I had with him, like, it was fine, and it ended up, okay. And that was okay. Like, it started off a little bit full on, but it was fine by the end of it. But
Right.
some of these people that I know are just big time haters. They'll get a little funny nickname.
Right.
Look, one of my friends, my friend Breezy, like, he's I think he's in his 30s. He's can I say a black dude, or does that sound like I'm saying I've got black friends? All right, can I say I've got a whole bunch of friends that are not white. There we go.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway,
Okay.
he's got this big fucking, what do I call, Old Testament beard, right? And I jumped in the chat and I said, "Oh, how you going, Moses?" I just come up with some funny names for people and whatever. He's a great guy, I love him.
Right.
But but some of these people, I give them funny nicknames because it's not aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a fluffy name that I can identify them with that. And then this yourself, probably. You've created things on your channel that people will identify with you. When I start my videos, I go, all right. So
Yeah,
people,
dude is mine. I stole it from Max.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie.
That's all right. So now, people start to get used to your vernacular, your mannerisms, things you refer to. You might have a funny nickname for a game,
Yeah.
when there's a particular game you just hate,
Yeah.
And people know that with you because you've built that as part of, your community, even without realizing it.
Right.
And like, it's all, in the end, none of it is serious.
No.
None of it's serious,
Yeah.
So.
Well, man, I really appreciate this conversation, dude.
That's okay.
I feel like we could sit here and talk for longer, but I know you have things to do. I believe you said.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the vet. I'm taking my two dogs to get their nails clipped. So
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I feel like this could have went on
a
a lot longer, man. I've really enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I mean, I say to people, we can chat anytime. If you see something you take issue with, I've always said this. Like, hit up in a chat. It doesn't have to be televised if you don't want it to be televised. It's just, I'm pretty open to talking to anyone, as long as the intention's good. As long as even if you don't agree with what I've said, you're like, cool, like, because there's more to a person than just their opinion on a fucking video game.
Absolutely.
There's more. And I think people sometimes forget that.
Yeah, we lose sight of that. We get so far into the internet, dude, so delved into it that we start to take criticisms on video games like personal attacks,
Yeah.
And that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%, man. So, well, thank you for having me on, dude.
Hey, I appreciate you being here, man. I'm gonna hop off here and talk to chat for a little bit before I end stream, but man, I really appreciate it. Thanks, dude.
No, that's cool. All right. Thanks, man. I
Later.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I had fun, chat. I feel like that was a really good conversation. I definitely had a way that I wanted to go about it, and I feel like I was able to do that, and I feel like it was a really good conversation, Dukes. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like it was a really good conversation. Even if I don't agree with how he handles his content, I did appreciate him saying he was going to try to be a little bit more positive, because look, dudes, I really enjoyed that video that I watched. Even if I was fired up going into it, which you can go watch my video, I was fucking fired up. 9-minute intro, dude. Just talking shit. I really enjoyed his opinions, like, throughout the video. And he's just a person who I don't think he's a bad dude. I don't think he's a bad dude. I think, he's a little abrasive. Not talking to him though. If you don't come at him combative, He's not really abrasive. I feel like I got along with him just fine, you know? I don't really have a bad thing to say about the guy outside of his content, you know? So, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Hey, Lynx, thank you for becoming a member again. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. If Mike Hollow is reasonable and Fate is reasonable, how do they fight? I'm kind of lost on that because you dudes heard. Like, I asked Fate hard questions, bro. Like, I straight up, I was like, dude, why do you feel the need to do this? What's the problem with being a little bit kinder, a little bit nicer? You know, and he was reasonable and he answered my questions, man. And he was not combative with me. Maybe it genuinely is the way that Mike goes about it. I don't know. I would love to talk to Mike. I don't know how Mike's going to feel after this because I know some people in the community get up in their feels. Like when you don't feel the same way that they do about a person. I really hope Mike's reasonable and understands that I'm just trying to be a neutral point of view. But I would really love to talk to him about the Fate situation because I just talked to a pretty agreeable person. Even if we don't have the same sense of humor or the same beliefs entirely or the same way of going about things, it wasn't hard to talk to him. You know, it really wasn't. Good, respectful stream. I appreciate that, Triple. Total, I would love to talk to you too, man. I need to go watch the rest of your video about my video today. I haven't seen it. Dude, you're one of those guys, like, where even, like, you know, you're probably getting ready to go in on me. I like listening to you talk. You know? I like listening to you talk about the old days and everything else. And even in your video, like, about me, you talked about PAX 2017 or 2018 for the one Australian tournament, and I just love listening to it, man. You know? You didn't go in on me. I haven't been able to see it, so I don't know. I don't know. You know? The title did crack me up, though. Poo Poo Pee Pee Tooten, I think it was. Poo Poo Tooten. Something like that. It did get me. Of course, thank you again, Links. Made a hit piece on me after a reaction video. Because Fate insulted Mike Hollow's GF. It's because Mike doesn't really believe a lot of things Fate says. And I mean, that's fun. You know, I am more like Mike than Fate. You know, in the aspect of, I feel like taking everything that someone says as the truth is a little naive. I do believe that. I definitely question things that people say. So even if, and I don't feel like I had a whole lot to question when it came to Fate. Of course, I'm not familiar with the lore, right? But I don't feel like I had a whole lot to question. He felt like he was pretty open with me. You know, even on the whole Tekken comment, you know, so. It's crazy, though. Mike is very peaceful. From what I've seen, Mike seems very peaceful, very chill and laid back, except for when it comes to Fate. It just seems like those two are just not meant to, like, get along, to be completely honest. I don't agree with every one of Fate's takes, but overall, he seems like a decent dude. Yeah, I feel like he's a decent dude outside of content creation. And even in his videos, if you can get past, like, the initial thought, because he said that he records everything in one take, so he, like, kind of like me, like, ADHD brings, like, off onto, like, a million different tracks, which is fair. I do that. That's why my shit's so heavily edited, because I will start talking about one thing and go to a completely different, dude. But, like, once you get past the opinion that the title and the thumbnail was made for, I enjoy the video, right? Yo, Triple, thanks for subscribing, dude. Think it's because you're chill as fuck. I appreciate that, Beast. I appreciate that, dude. One where your talk with Mike Hollowby, I'm not sure. I haven't even hit him up yet. He said he was down. I commented back. I haven't even hit him up yet. So we'll see. Sure, man, hit me up. You didn't go in on me at all. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll hit you up, man. I'll hit you up. Do you have Discord? I'd love to have a conversation. It might be a few days because I have a strict streaming schedule to spend time with my family. So it'll probably be 2 days from now, if you're cool with that. Mike has gone after me several times. I've never even spoken to him before that. I would really like to like talk to Mike about the whole situation, just to like know why he hates Fate so much. I'm curious, dude. I'm so curious. Fate is always going to say how he feels. Fuck it, he's outspoken. I don't think there's anything wrong with being outspoken, but there's definitely a certain way to go about things to not be rude and disrespectful. And like Fate said when I was talking to him, you know, no promises, but you know, he's going to try to be a little bit kinder. And I think that's what the world needs, you know? There's a lot of hate in the world right now. And again, not to be fucking preachy, this is just kind of like the shit that I follow, man. Like, the world could always be a little bit kinder. Tooten trying to be the counselor of the FGC. Bro, you would not believe how many times I've had to be the counselor in my life. I ain't trying to do that in the FGC. I'm just trying to talk to dudes and get their opinions and shit, right? Do some interviews. I support both sides, and most every content creator who makes vids on MK, even True Underdog. I'd like to talk to True Underdog. I would. I'd like to talk to him about his content, why he changed from like all fighting games to like just MK. You know, I'd like to talk to him. That'd be fun. Total MK, which kind of justified. You posted a tweet that made you as an MK YouTuber that's been a fan for a long time look really silly. I actually don't know the lore on that. You have Discord? All right, man. I assume you're in Fate's Discord, so I'll add you from there. Finally got done with that community vid. Send it through to my Discord. Look, man, I'll check it out. Fake's problem is saying things that are objectively wrong, then playing the victim and saying people are attacking him when he gets called out on it. AJ, I haven't seen a whole bunch of Fake videos. I've seen some of the drama, and I've seen like 2 or 3 personally. I'm not going to go after the man for shit that I'm unfamiliar with. And maybe that's shitty interviewer of me, but this was kind of spur of the moment. I put the video out today. Fake commented on it like 2 hours before we started this stream, and I was like, I just want to talk to the dude about this video. We did veer off into some of that older shit, and we talked about it. But I'm not too familiar with it, right? So it's how True Underdog never does an interview / live stream. I really haven't. I didn't know he didn't live stream. Started watching you, fighting you way back on MK11 streams before you betrayed all 20 viewers for DVD. Yeah, love you, bro. Yo, I appreciate you being here. I did betray everybody for DVD. I got tired of talking about MK, dude. I got so tired of talking about MK. He takes criticisms as attacks. I don't really think you can say that after this stream, AJ. I really don't think you can say that after this stream. I hit him with some pretty hard questions, I think. You know? I mean, no, I wasn't like degrading him as a person, but like I asked him like difficult questions like, why are you doing this? Why is shit like this? Why are you acting like this? And he didn't take it as an attack. He answered it genuinely, I feel like. You know? There's already a attraction on my channel. Okay, I haven't seen any of that. I think the world should be a bit more kinder too. Yeah, for sure. Watch the videos yourself. I'll have to catch up. Or, you know what? If I talk to Mike, he can catch me up. I'd rather stay like a neutral party. You know, I'll watch the new shit that comes out, but like focusing on the past, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch them. Maybe I'll catch up. But it's just a lot to catch up on, right? Maybe that makes me a shitty interviewer. I don't know. It's a lot to catch up on, and watching Fake's like compilation video explaining the situation is going to be biased towards Fate, and watching Mike's video compiling everything together is going to be biased towards Mike's opinion. So I would really literally have to go like search for hours and hours and hours. And, you know, with the questions that he just answered, and as genuine with me as he was, I really don't feel like he takes criticism as attacks. I criticized him in this discussion, and we did not sit there and argue about it. You used to leave a comment on every MK video. I actually think I recognize the name, Nobody. Yeah, for sure. Question, why did you slow down DBD vids despite the good traction and big community? It was causing trouble in my personal life. That's really as far as I want to go into it, but it caused some trouble, some mental health issues for me, and it just wasn't healthy overall. So I'm doing it hopefully in a healthier way now. Just going, what's the situation? We were talking to Fate. Fate was the most reasonable I've ever seen him. I said earlier because I think he should chill as fuck, very respectful, even how you ask specific questions. So I appreciate that, Beast. Is that really the most chill y'all have seen Fate? You did a great job. You asked him hard questions and let him answer. Hell yeah, man. Sure, AJ. I have a Discord. I will link it right here. Let me do it. 1 second. Invite people. I will link my Discord for all you dudes who want to hop in. It's a pretty dead Discord because it was for Mortal Kombat. Or DVD, sorry. What's going to be the topic of the next stream? I don't know. We might be talking to Toggle MK for the hell of it. Because Toggle MK made a video about my video today, so I'll probably watch it, take some notes down, be a little bit more prepared, because I'll have a couple days if he's still down, and we'll see. Might be talking to Mike soon. We'll see how that goes, and we got some other things in the pipe. But anyways, dudes, that's gonna do it for me. I appreciate you guys being here. It was about a 2-hour stream, 2.5, something like that. Really good conversation. I had fun, dudes. I really did. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys chilling through it. And yeah, dudes. I will see you dudes next time, which will be day after tomorrow. Actually, there is a fucking Kombat cast tomorrow. I'll figure it out and I'll let you guys know. But yeah, thanks for chilling, dudes. I'll see you next time. Peace out. Still can't use that because it gets me copyrighted. So sorry for the blank outro. My bad.